Hey guys, welcome to Timeless Mysteries. Surprise, I'm live. How's it going, everyone? If you're here, great. If you're not, that's okay. What am I talking about today? Well, I guess if you want to find out, you'll have to wait. So, yeah, I just decided to do this now. I was working on some shorts for, just reworking some stuff that I've uh, done already in the past. And this topic came up, and I was editing, a nice little 45-minute short. And I thought, it'd be a good idea to talk about Chris Watts again and his mother again and see what you guys think and see if you guys are still, anti Cindy, I wouldn't say that I am, I can see how a mother would love their son despite everything, despite, you know, h- Chris Watts murdering his family. I've heard a lot of people say that, oh, if this was my child, I would never speak to him again. But I don't know if I could do that. And I don't know that I can blame anybody for doing that. Either way, if I don't know. I hope I never have to find out. A mother is always going to love their child, despite everything. And I think you can try not to, I suppose, but at some level you're going to. So I was working on this. Let me see if I can share it. Maybe, yeah, here we go. I think I should probably this is the short I was working on, and, it's just, I'm editing some stuff, here. Let me see. See, I mean, it takes a while. I was just putting it together. I got the story here it sounds good. It's gonna be a short. It's something that I've already, put on YouTube, but I cut it in a different way, so it sounds a little differently, or different than it did. Let's see, but I don't know. I'm gonna wait for some more people to show up and see if you guys want to see it in advance. I mean, I could edit it right now. I think I got the story the way I want it. Now I just need to uh, do some editing. But right now, I don't see anybody in the chat. If you're here, if you're watching, say hi, click the like button. I was also thinking I could probably share the original video. This video that I made last year kind of made people angry. I just want to warn you, I didn't intend to set out to be, you know, hey, this is Cindy Watts and, she's not a bad person, but I mean, I didn't even really say that in my video. All I said was that she was a mother and she was human, and I got a lot of bad feedback. They're like, "Oh, you must be, part of this group or whatever." And if you've been watching my channel, you know that I don't really like saying anything bad about anyone. Um, Unless they're a killer. I mean, because then for sure uh, that they did something terrible, and we should talk about those things, and hopefully somehow they prevent future things like that happening, or at least maybe one person is aware more than they would have been previously, and maybe see the warning signs and get out ahead of time. Those kinds of things. Um, let's see. I seem to have lost my live stream page. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing this screen. I think that'll fix it for now. There I am again. So, guys, I see there's a couple of people here. Just make sure you're hitting that the like button if you don't feel like chatting. just let me know you're here, and we can start talking about this. I think it'll be good to talk about, you know, Cindy Watts a little bit, and remember that she is human. We can still save all of the other things for, you don't have to stop thinking that way. you know I'm not here to point fingers at her for the things that, you know I'm just not like that. But let's see. I guess I don't know if I play this video, you guys might not be happy with it, um because like I said, it kind of gives Cindy a different face than what you're used to seeing when you watch Chris Watts videos. And you know, nobody's asked me to do this. I don't do this because for any reason other than, I don't know, I just don't feel like it's a good idea to go around bashing people, and that's why I kind of did this video, and it's kind of the opposite of everything that everyone else has ever said about Cindy, and, I think I got a bunch of likes because people hated it so much. So, I don't know, I'm just still kinda waiting for you guys to show up here. um if you're just watching and hanging out quietly in the background, that's great. Just hit the like button. All right. I don't hear anybody here. So, I know it's late, in most places, but it's not late here. So, I don't know. Let me see what. Oh, yeah. Let's see. I will try to play the original video, at least some of it, and then we'll talk about it as we go. And, it should give you kind of a little bit of, y- I don't know. I'm not trying to make you change your mind. That's for sure. Okay. I'm just trying to talk about something. And, you know, I feel better when I talk about something and I don't have to, point out all of the bad things. You know, if there's not murder involved, I think a lot can be forgiven. You know, there's some other crimes too that, they just can't be forgiven. So I'm just gonna wait here for a sec. I think, yeah, there's my so yeah, guys, just hit the like button. We'll get started. Let me know you're here, where you're watching from. Uh, you know, I know I typically dress up. I'm wearing shorts and, a long sleeve shirt. I know it's a little weird. But thank you. I see somebody did hit the like button. I do appreciate that. But in the chat button, there's that other like button where you can hit the little heart thing. That also alerts YouTube. Hey, there's a guy on YouTube right now who is, you know, uh hey Maribel, long time no see. It's been a while. I hope you're doing well. So yeah, this video is gonna be weird. And the only reason why I'm doing it live is because I was considering playing or basically um I'm making a short. I've been editing some of my old videos into shorts, right? And this video was really weird because I didn't intend to make it the way it kind of came out, and people kind of hated it because I was being nice. And being nice is kind of my personality. Um, you know, but yeah, I guess I'll just play some of this video. I'm not using StreamYard today. I'm using, um, let me see if I can even find the right video. I've got it pulled up on my screen, but I'm actually using YouTube today. So it's kind of weird. Everything's a little bit different, but I think I can share this. And then we can watch some of this video. So this video is called Cindy Watts Finally Speaks the Truth About Her Son, Chris Watts. And I did this video last year, over a year ago. Um, you know, It was one of the first videos that I ever did that got views because people hated it so much. At least that's how the comments read. It's kinda weird, to think about it that way. It wasn't intentional. I'll just have to say that again and again because it was just an accident. I think it's a good video. Um, I don't think it says anything bad about anyone, but I also don't think it says anything great about anyone either. So, um, I wasn't trying to do that. I was just trying to, you know, give a different, approach to the same story that we've all heard when I did this. And this is my AI voice, not my voice. But here, I'm just gonna play some of it, and then I'll pause it here in a few minutes and, see what you guys think, because I'd really like to know.
I wake up every morning just crying, thinking this is not gonna be what's gonna happen every single day.
It's every parent's worst nightmare to discover that their child has harmed another, especially when it isn't in
Hang on.
self-defense.
Let me pause
Now,
this.
imagine the horror of seeing your once innocent child, now an adult, accused of heinous crime.
So, let me lower the resolution, maybe that's the problem. I'll just change it down to, like it's still pretty good. Let me see if I can change the stream settings. I don't think I can. Um Let's see what this edit button does. Yeah, I don't think it lets me pick on here. On StreamYard, I can lower the resolution. But I think changing the resolution on the oh, it's getting better? It probably is. So let me also just turn off my OneDrive that's always, syncing up stuff and slows everything down. I don't know what's been going on lately, but my internet hasn't been that great. And it's I don't think it's your YouTube, Maribel. I think it's my internet. Um, so I'm gonna go ahead and start this over one more time and see how it goes. Hopefully it's fine. Where is this? Okay, so I'm gonna rewind it and start over.
I wake up every morning just crying, thinking this is not gonna be what's gonna happen every single day.
It's every parent's worst nightmare to discover that their child has harmed another, especially when it isn't in self-defense. Now, imagine the horror of seeing your once innocent child, now an adult, accused of a heinous crime. How should a parent react? Can a parent who has cherished their child since before birth abruptly cease to love and protect them? This was the agonizing reality for Cindy and Ronnie Watts when their son, Chris, was accused of murdering his pregnant wife and two daughters in August 2018. In numerous interviews, Cindy's defense of her son stemmed from an unwavering maternal love, making the allegations seem impossible to her. Even after his confession, accepting the reality remained an insurmountable challenge. She raised him as a kind, considerate boy. How could this be possible? Haunted by memories of Chris as a loving child, Cindy struggled with the incongruity between her memories and the accusations. When Chris called, his voice trembled.
So I'm going to pause it there. But, the introduction, those are real questions that you can ask yourself about yourself, even. What would happen if this was me? And that's what I was going for there. Um, like I said, people we're not happy that I said any of this, that Cindy Watts could possibly be a human, and I thought it was really weird. Um, and I hadn't at the time, I hadn't really gotten into the parts where she's like clearly in a war with her daughter-in-law. If you watch that video, the interview video, like it's really hard to watch because of the things she says. It makes her sound like she's blaming the victim. And yeah, I don't know. So I'm going to show you the video that I'm editing into a short. It's basically part of this video, but I've taken pieces of it to make it. And well, I don't know. Do you guys want to see some more of this one? Does anybody in the chat like feel that Cindy Watts has never gotten a fair deal out of all of this media attention after this case happened? Well, I thought she got treated unfairly. I thought this interview that she had right after this incident, got put in the media was Cindy Watts being taken advantage of. That's why I kind of made this video. I think that a good journalist would not have done that interview like that.
Saying his wife and children were missing.
But all they wanted was, views.
This could not be happening. The confession subsequently given to the police was something that Cindy could not reconcile. The idea that her beautiful baby boy could be the monster who murdered his pregnant wife and 2 daughters was simply inconceivable. Cindy's enduring love for her son prevented her from fully embracing this grim reality. The Chris she knew, the child she nurtured and loved, could not be the same person accused of such monstrous acts. Her world was irrevocably shattered as she grappled with the incomprehensible truth that her granddaughters were murdered in a horrible fashion and that her beloved son could be involved in such a profound tragedy. Public reaction was swift and harsh. People expected her to disown her son, to shame him as they did. But Cindy's response was more complex. How could a mother turn her back on her child, even in the face of such overwhelming evidence? Her instinct was to protect him, to hold on to the memories of the love.
So, I don't know. I don't know what you guys think, but I mean, I just think that as a parent, you just can't turn off that. I don't know. I mean, I've never had to. I mean, I guess in a way, I hadn't talked to my dad for like 10 years. He did something unforgivable, and I don't regret not talking to him. But, for all I know, he could have changed. He could have been a better person. But Maribel says she's unlikable. Yeah, she is that. If you look at the things that, I don't know, she just got into a lot of drama. And, the funny thing is there's a lot of mother-in-laws out there like her today still, like that nobody knows about because, nothing that's caused, national news has happened in those lives. But people are just mean. And it's kind of crazy. This video, like I said, I did it last year. I think it's still pretty good, but I don't think it's as good as it. My writing is just not as good then as it is now, anyway. But I guess practice makes perfect, because I've been getting better, like considerably better. But I don't know where the boring parts are. But I want to play it so you guys can kind of see the difference and see if you like the short better, basically. The short's probably going to get
loving son she raised, despite the monstrous acts he confessed to. Cindy's struggle was not just with the public's judgment, but with her own heart, torn between a mother's unconditional love and the horrific reality of her son's actions. Welcome to Timeless Mysteries, where we discuss the impossible. Please like and subscribe to my channel and join my community. Take a moment and put yourself in the shoes of the mother of convicted murderer Chris Watts. She loves her child and her granddaughters deeply, but the horror of their loss and the actions of her son are unimaginable. After Chris Watts' arrest, his parents, Ronnie and Cindy Watts, were devastated. They spoke out to reporters from their home in North Carolina, expressing their disbelief and heart.
See, I always thought this image right here kind of says a lot about their relationship. I don't know if it's true, but it makes me feel like they're not on the same page as this. I think Ronnie probably didn't want to be there doing this interview, and Cindy thought it was a good idea because she wanted people to know that her son was a normal guy and that there wasn't nothing. I mean, that this isn't like him. I think. I mean, I don't know. I haven't spoken to her. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, and I do truly believe that, when the news people showed up at her door, they talked her into talking, and she was in, shock and grief. She probably didn't even understand what was happening or what could possibly happen. And, you know, now we'll forever remember that she never said anything good about, her daughter-in-law and or her granddaughters. All she talked about was how much she loved her child and that she supported him and that, she didn't. I don't know. I kind of see that as, she wanted to be seen as supportive and she probably thought that would be good, but you just can't really support this kind of behavior, at least not publicly, without, well, yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Hey, Lucy. Hey, Licia. How are you guys today? Licia says, when Cindy stated to her son, "I don't care what you did," is when I lost all respect for her. I agree. I feel that. I really do. I think that was a big mistake. I think if she would have approached this differently, we probably wouldn't think of her the same way. All she had to do is wait, there is a Lucy and a Lucia in the chat, Maribel. Um, uh, Lucy Whitaker and Lu- Licia at 3191. Yeah. Um, thank you, Lucy. Let me see. How do I pin that? See, I don't usually use YouTube. I just didn't feel like setting up a StreamYard today. I don't know how long this live is going to last. I was just basically making a short out of this video because, well, I just haven't been very creative lately, to be honest. And I've just got a lot of personal crap going on. And so far, Lucy, what you've missed is we're just looking at a video that I made last year. We're kind of talking about the public image of Cindy Watts. And the funny thing about this video is that I wasn't intentionally trying to make anyone look good or bad when I talked about it. I was just trying to remind people because I saw a lot of, angry things spoken about this woman. And I just thought it was kind of unfair, specifically because of the very public interview, the one that's gotten like millions of views, is right after this happened. And there is no way that a person wouldn't be grieving at that time. Like it might not be the same kind of grief that you would see, in every single person, but grief is totally different for everyone. And I think she made a bad decision when she went and did that interview. I think she should have thought about what she was saying because she didn't think about the public reaction. And I think um, because of that, we see her as she is rather than, um, I mean, I'm not going to say anything bad about her. I think she's human. I think we're all human and we all have our mistakes and flaws and things. I think the relationship with her um, daughter-in-law was just unfair. But I'm still not going to blame her for that. But this video in particular, it got like it was like my highest views on this one video, and all of the comments. Let me see if I can even show that. Does it show if I scroll down? Yeah, let me show you some of the comments that I got. Like, it's just crazy. Um, these are all old comments, but some of them are pretty mean. And they're like directed towards me. Why could you say that? Oh my God. And then, some of them are kind of, good. Like, I haven't seen one of the bad ones. Like this one right here is pretty good. I don't expect her to stop loving him, but I do think she had no right to compound the pain of Shanann's family. The problem is not her support of Chris, it's her defense of him when he himself has already told the truth and wants to take responsibility for what he did. Her horrid treatment of Shanann is a massive catalyst and contributed to her son beginning to reclassify Shanann as an enemy rather than the woman that he loved. This is a really good comment, guys. Uh, you know, Men like Chris don't magically appear from a vacuum. They are made by mothers who get their self-worth and value from their sons. This part, I don't know that that's always true. Parents, I think, always live a little bit vicariously through their children. They want them to succeed where they failed. They want them to be better than they were. At least that's what I want for my kids. But it's not a rare phenomenon either. Um, it is becoming the norm of American society. She is right about one thing. Chris Watts isn't some freak of evil monster. There are hundreds of thousands of men who, under the right circumstances, could do exactly what Chris did. I don't know how long this one is. This one's pretty long. I don't know. You guys can go through and look through the comments, but that's actually a really well written comment. And at least I got that one person who kind of acknowledged what I was trying to say, and that's basically what I feel like. At least in the first part. I'm trying to find one of the comments there bashing Shanann. She's the murder victim, not Chris. Chris and NK, he is an evil monster. I know there's some in here where they're like, you are from Cindy Watts's like something, and I don't know. And these kinds of comments are always funny because I see them all the time. And I think the reason why people watch, follow this case so much is because of the attractiveness of all of the people involved. Even though most people don't acknowledge that when you talk to them about it. If you ask them, hey, do you find these people attractive? They don't. But I know in here, I didn't delete any comments. I didn't block anyone. Yeah, like that horrid woman. Did you really look into her role of their relationship, their marriage? I know I'm going to find one. Or maybe I just imagined it. I don't know. It's possible that somebody went back and rewrote their comments or something too. But I swear there was a lot where they like attacked me personally for saying that this woman is a human. And that's basically all I was trying to say. But yeah. So I'm going to look at the comments, guys, and see what you guys are saying. I know I can ramble on forever. Maribel says, I lost it. Support is one thing. Bashing after she's gone is another. And I totally understand that. And I'm one of those people who know a lot of things because I've heard them from you guys, but I don't actively go look for things about Shanann. Hey, Olga, I'm glad you made it. This was like a last minute idea. to be live and talk about this stuff, but um, and Leisha says her name is pronounced Leisha. I think I was saying something else. Um, and I'm just reading through these. Lucy says, I agree with you. There's really not been fair on Cindy Watts at all. She is a victim, but not in the sense, I agree, Lucy. She is a victim now, but not because of, not for any good reason. It's, she said the wrong things at the wrong time to the wrong news media, and they captured it because that's what they were hoping for, something tragic and like something that they can like exploit for, people to watch, and they found it. So they didn't tell her, "Hey, I don't think you want to say that." They said, "Oh, keep talking to the camera, just be yourself. Say all the things that you want people to know about Chris." And she thought she was doing the right thing. Obviously, she was wrong. She made a bad choice. I think people see her unfairly, mostly because of that. And then as people start looking into it further, they, find out about things like the Nutgate. And you just can't help but like, I don't know. I hate saying, um, mean things about people. Um, I try to be fair. I don't think I don't think like if something like just saying something terrible about somebody isn't going to change what happened, and it's not going to make anyone feel good, and being angry doesn't make me feel good. So that's kind of how I try to approach these things. Um, but yeah, Maribel, you're going to have to tell us about your vacation. I hope you went somewhere, good. Was it a good vacation? Maribel says, "You're very fair and kind, Rob." Thank you for saying that. Licia says, "I feel bad for Ronnie Watts." And I do too. I really do. Um, I was just watching a video earlier about, supposedly his last visit to see Chris. They're getting older now, guys. You know, Chris Watts didn't just ruin his own life. He didn't just end 3 lives, 4 lives. He changed a lot of people's lives because of this. His decision to do this ruined more lives than he ever thought was possible. And, when something gets in the national news like this story has, and it doesn't go away, and it like, has this island that's grown up over the years because of what he did. I mean, it's really kind of disturbing that he did this and he didn't even think about any of this as being a possibility. You know, there's a lot of bad people out there. There's a lot of killers. Not every killer makes it in onto national news. This case was always going to be national news just because, it was a middle class family. They had a nice house. They had nice things. They had, good things going for them. They had the dream that everyone wants. I mean, at least that's what it looked like, right? And it's just it's not fair for anyone in this case, even Cindy Watts. This isn't fair that this happened to her, uh, you know, but it did. And Chris did it to her. And Maribel, looks like you said your vacation you went to New Jersey, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, and then back to upstate New York. Were you in an RV? Because if you were, that sounds like a really good vacation. If you were in a cramped, tiny car, sleeping in cheap hotels, maybe Still fun, but not as fun. I I've done both things in my life. But yeah, I'll play a little more of my video. Just you guys have to go look at it and just read through the comments. There's some memes. I chose to leave all of them there. I don't ever blocked anyone. Um, I just I don't know. I just think I mean, I might have responded with, "Hey, thanks for your comment," but I just don't feel like there's a need for me to really respond to those.
Break. Despite their son's guilty plea, they struggled to accept the reality of what had happened. Cindy, in particular, was adamant that Chris wasn't a sociopath or a psychopath. Cindy recalled how she wasn't allowed to speak to Chris freely before his plea agreement. She wanted to understand why he confessed and whether he truly committed the crimes he was accused of. She felt that his defense attorneys shut her down when she
They definitely did shut her down, but that was because that's what Chris wanted. Um, I think at the time she didn't believe that he did it still. I think she realizes it now. I don't know why she wouldn't um believe that he did it now. I don't think I've heard that she does or doesn't yet.
tried to get answers. Cindy and Ronnie questioned if Chris had been coerced into taking the plea deal, unsure if he had been given the chance to fully explain himself. Their frustration was palpable. They were devastated by the loss of their granddaughters and their son, but Cindy couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the story. She remembered Chris telling her that he lost control and went into a rage, killing Shanann. He also claimed that he couldn't place the girls' bodies with Shanann's after what she had allegedly done. But what had she done? It doesn't take long before it becomes painfully clear that she never liked Shanann. Despite Chris' confession, Cindy and Ronnie couldn't fully comprehend why he would dispose of the girls' bodies in oil tanks. They couldn't understand what could have triggered such a horrific act. They acknowledged Shanann's family's pain and loss, but they also pleaded for the truth from their son. Cindy felt overwhelmed
Yeah, I think that
and
was actually.
helpless.
I don't think they ever actually acknowledged it. That could be a mistake in my video, guys. Did anyone ever hear them say that they acknowledged the Ruzek's loss? Because I don't think they did. I've heard a lot of other family members of killers say that we're really devastated by all of this. Our hearts go out to the other family and things like that. I've heard that a lot. Um, but I've never heard them say that. I've heard other families say stuff like that, and I think it's always the right thing to do, even if you don't know what the right words are. Um, so I think that was actually an editing error where, because I'm basically, if I typed in the wrong word, when I use this AI, I just like type up a script and then I drop it in to, this thing and then it reads it. It separates them into paragraphs, and then you have to go through and listen to them all, make sure that they say all the words right. But if I mistyped, I don't always catch those. And this is, um, one of the first true crime videos that I made, and it was over a year ago. I've gotten a lot better, and I know what mistakes to look for, now. But yeah.
Yet determined to fight for her son if he wouldn't fight for himself. Shanann's family, devastated by the loss, responded to the Watts interview with their own heartfelt statement, defending Shanann's character and emphasizing.
See, I don't even have to hear them speak, and I can feel how much they're suffering just by the way they look, the way that Sandy is able to basically forgive Chris. I mean, that's the only way I can see it. she wanted to keep the death penalty off the table. Um, I mean, I guess that could be some sort of like, well, we want you to stay alive and suffer, but I don't know. I think it's our instinct to, somebody takes the life of somebody we love, they should forfeit their own, legally through legal means like the death penalty.
Seeing the brutality of Chris's actions, they expressed their frustration at the Watts family's defense of Chris and their desire to protect Shanann's memory and reputation. It's important to remember that both sets of grandparents lost their beloved grandchildren. Each family had a child deeply involved in this
Yeah, I
tragedy.
agree with you.
Both love their children unconditionally and may not see the flaws that outsiders easily spot. You can't fault someone for that kind of love. Shanann may be completely gone, but Chris is now just a shadow of the person he once was. In a sense, he
I've
died
also
along with his family, leaving only his physical presence behind.
I've been tempted to look it up, but I haven't. I like to talk about this case, but I don't really want to. I don't think I could, I don't know. I don't think I could have a conversation with them without, you know, being emotional, because I feel what they went through, and I'm not trying to, um, you know, make it worse for them. But if I don't talk about this story, other people are talking about it still.
After Chris,
So I don't know. I don't know. I really feel the pain coming from that family whenever they talk about the case. When I hear about, somebody making crazy accusations about, Shanann's own family, it's just insanity. I mean, I get it with gossip. It's basically, a conspiracy theories after conspiracy theory. It's fun to talk about these things and gossip about these things. But I was just watching something today. I'm not sure how I started watching it, but it was a love story. It had a rabbi in it, and they made this statement from another rabbi who was like, and I'm not Jewish or very religious, I'm or anything, but this other rabbi who was quoted said something like, the people who gossip are just as, vicious and evil as a murderer. And it's almost true, I think. The words of other people hurt terribly. And you know, I I I don't know. I guess sometimes I feel like, well, maybe I shouldn't talk about this case anymore. But uh, there's a lot we can learn from this story. There's a lot we can learn about ourselves thinking about these kinds of stories, and hopefully none of us are murdered or become a murderer.
Chris Watts' sentencing, the media frenzy surrounding the case intensified. Cindy Watts, who had been vocal about her disbelief in her son's guilt, faced a storm of public inquiry. The media often painted her as a mother in denial, unwilling to accept the reality of her son's actions. Cindy struggled with the dual loss of her son and granddaughters, grappling with unimaginable pain. Her public statements and interviews were often dissected, with many perceiving her as a monster for defending Chris. Despite her heartbreak, Cindy continued to express doubt about the full story, fueling media criticism. The media frequently portrayed Cindy as equally culpable, focusing on her vocal support for Chris and her strained relationship with Shanann. Headlines like Chris Watts, Parents, Our Son is Not a Monster from ABC News and Cindy Watts. There's just no way he could have done this. From People magazine highlighted her disbelief in Chris' guilt.
Did you hear that? BC. That was supposed to be ABC News, but for whatever reason, AI is just a pain. It can't pronounce things, simple things like news channel abbreviations. It can't pronounce UFO either, or what do they call UFOs now? unknown aerial objects or something. It's something different, right? But yeah, the AI voice is great, but it's very limited. Uh, I think I do well recording my own. It does take a lot more time. It's a lot harder. The editing process is just, first you got to record it. And if you're doing a 10-minute video like this, you'll have like 45 minutes of audio that you got to sort through and cut out all the mistakes. Versus you work with an AI voice, you drop it in, you eventually start learning all the things you got to fix ahead of time. So you fix them before you even render anything. And it takes like 2 or 3 hours versus all day the other way. But I think I'm gonna um, show the short that I'm making. You guys can tell me because I changed some of this stuff around. Like the wording is a little bit different than the original. I cut it and rearranged it, and it's only going to be like a minute. I'm trying to get it down to like 45 seconds, and I still got to mess with the visuals. But I think it's still pretty interesting. At least it sounds interesting to me. I think people will like it, or at least want to hear what's going to happen next. Um,
The idea that her beautiful baby boy could be the monster who murdered his pregnant wife and 2 daughters was simply inconceivable. Cindy's enduring love for her son prevented her from fully embracing this grim reality. The Chris she knew, the child she nurtured and loved, could not be the same person accused of such monstrous acts. Take a moment and put yourself in the shoes of the mother of convicted.
but I think this does sum up that entire video.
Child and her granddaughters deeply, but the horror of their loss and the actions of her son are unimaginable.
I wake up every morning just crying, thinking this is not gonna be what's gonna happen every single day.
It's every parent's worst nightmare. Can a parent who has cherished their child since before birth abruptly cease to love and protect them?
No voice. Are you kidding me? Hold on. That's lame. You guys can't hear that, huh? Whoops. You guys couldn't hear that? Or that's sad. I guess you'll have to wait for the short then. I thought it was sharing it and the audio. Low volume. Let me try. Well, I don't know. Let me see. I'll try one more time. See if I can make it sound a little better without rendering it, because I don't know. I'm running out of space on my computer. I gotta always clear the all these old videos, and I don't want to delete anything. Oh, you could hear it. So some of you could hear it. Okay. Well, that's good news. But I was thinking, this is just like the footage that was in there. So the reason why there's like 2 of these, the idea is I'm gonna take one and do what everyone does, stretch it out. But I was actually thinking about, and then I can do other things too, like add in stuff. Let me see if I can find something good. Maybe this one. I'll just drop it in. So yeah, I mean, this is kind of how you build a video, and I actually have to use After Effects to actually make it look really cool, which I don't really want to do with these shorts, because it doesn't seem to make much difference if it's really well edited or not with a short. But you can add these little things in there and make it look kind of cool. There's like video effects, like trying to, where's one? Perspective, this one, or transform. No, perspective, basic. Yeah, you can add in, I think it's that one. You can add in a 3D thing. And where's my, uh, it's not over here. It's supposed to be over here, the properties for that. And wow. I don't know why that screen over there is different, but it seems to change every time I open this program. Let's see. There we go. So like you got your video, the image you want, and then you can do different things with it, like make it look different. Uh, you can change it all kinds of ways. Like, I like doing this stuff. It's fun to mess with it. But actually, that color burn actually might look better on this other one. On this one, let me try that. If I can do that again. Oops, wrong one. It's supposed to be that one. I think I lost the. Oh, there it is. And it's not changing it on that one for some reason. But it should have. Oh, I think it's selecting the wrong one. That's why. Yeah, I don't know. It's whenever I try to mess with this stuff while I don't know, it just doesn't do what it's supposed to do. But this one did it. I don't know why. See, that one changes. This one doesn't want to change for some reason. I wonder if I do this. Let me try this one. I'm not like a super pro at this stuff. It takes me a long time to edit things the way I want it to be edited. But if I do this and then I take this one. What? That's weird. Oh, I see what's happening. It won't do it because you guys are watching. Yeah. But anyways, yeah. So what do you guys think about Cindy Watts? I know there's a lot of animosity out there with Cindy. I mean, do you guys feel sorry for her even though you're still angry with her, or do you really just think, I mean, I personally think if she got on somewhere and just actually said, "Hey, I'm really sorry about everything," it would help, I think. So which video are you guys talking about? The last Cindy Watts video? Should she have a thing with the news again? Because I mean, I think all it would have taken, same with probably Nicole Kessinger too, if they would have just actually showed some empathy. Um, it would be a different story. But I don't know. I feel sorry for her uh, and what she went through, and I wish that, I'm sure she had friends before all of this happened. People liked her. She was probably just a regular human. You know, maybe mean to her daughter-in-law, but lots of mother-in-laws are. It's not. It's not like, I mean, people are just mean to each other. I don't know why. There's no good reason for it. And I think Cindy and Shanann were a lot alike, and they probably could have gotten along if they had tried. But I've been thinking about doing another Cindy Watts video. I know I've told you guys that I'm redoing the Chris Watts video, the my best video, and I'm really unsure that it's gonna do very well. I think the voice is way better, I think the editing is way better, but I think it was because that video wasn't, 100% perfect that it did well. That's the Coward's Life video, the one where I'm kinda like, um showing the back and forth between, his normal life and then the hidden underneath life, but right before he commits murder and then, the life of what it's like to live in prison. His life is completely over as far as, I mean, any real life. I mean, I guess he gets to live, right? I I have sympathy for her, Alicia. I don't, like, support her, though. Like, I don't support what she did or how she did it, or, I don't support people who are just mean for no especially for no real good reason for it, you know? I just don't think it's, necessary. Usually, whenever you're, mean to somebody else, it actually hurts you more, um, I think. It just I'd rather feel good about the things I say to someone rather than try to say have something that I've said that I regret. Um, but, we all have our things. We're all human. We've all made mistakes. We've all got something, you know. It, it's it's just kind of sad. Um, Let me see if I have any other things. Oh yeah, I was talking about this possible new Cindy Watts video. Um, I don't know that I could do this one again, and not knowing the things I know now, um, at the time, and I still try not to, find out all those things, but I've fully read about everything I could read on Nutgate. I've actually told that story a couple times, and after just knowing that one thing, it almost makes it impossible to, feel good about saying, well, this person's human, you know, eh, and, I still think she's human. I still think she loved her son, and I don't think she should be blamed for that. But you need to show empathy, um, for everyone else. It's very selfish to only care about yourself. And, you know, Chris Watts, he was a monster. He seemed like a nice guy. His family trusted him. His in-laws loved him. They treated him like a human. You know, it just isn't fair, you know. This whole story about this man and his family, all of it all could have been prevented. And they chose to, fight about things that they didn't need to even fight about. And all it did was add more stress to everyone's lives. And I know a lot of you don't think that the Nutgate was really something that led to what happened, but I think it's just a matter of like all of the little things in Chris's life. It had to be, the stress of this, the stress of that, all of it just kind of started piling up. And that's what led to his affair. When he was had his affair, he was, living out a fantasy life. He got to go somewhere, be someone different without the responsibilities that was weighing him down, making him feel, terrible. Stress is hard to deal with for everyone, even if it's a small amount of stress. To you, the same stress could be huge to someone else. And, there's just all these things. And we would never be able to predict this in a million years, but we can talk about it now because we know what happened. And, you know, that in itself isn't fair either, because we like to believe that we would spot it. We would know. We would be able to say, "Hey, there's something going on. We need to fix it before somebody gets hurt." That wasn't said because nobody knew. That's the whole hiding in plain sight that I talk about a lot. It's terrible, but it's the truth. It's not just, something people say. It's real. These people hide in plain sight until one day they go too far. And, the worst of them are the ones that repeat the process and do this many, many times. And yeah. So, Maribel asked Leisha if Cindy is still bashing Shanann. I don't think I've heard anything of her doing that lately, but I don't think she's been anywhere on social media at all. Maribel says there are disagreements in families. Yes, if a huge part of the family has that happened, I think there's some typos in there. Full stop. Don't knock the ones gone. Yeah, I think that is the main thing that should have happened immediately was, "Oh my god, I'm sorry this happened," and then supported her son after the empathy was done and you know, all of that. I personally still believe if something with her grief, the way she felt it, the way it happened to her, that it came out the way she did, and she just didn't realize. And I don't know, she seems a bit stubborn because she never said it afterwards, as far as I know. A lot of people are stubborn. A lot of people should say I'm sorry when they know they should say it and they still don't. But I'm not saying that the things that she did were right or wrong. Before this happened, I just can say that she didn't have enough empathy at the time. She was focused on her support of her son, and she thought that was. It seems like that's what she thought, because obviously I didn't hear her say that, but she's going on the news talking about these things because they were important to her. And the way people react to things kind of says a lot about them. Um, I don't know, like I can't think of any time that I've, you know, been unempathetic for somebody going through something tragic. Um, just personally, I don't know. I don't know what that's like. I always feel um for other people. So, I don't know. I saw somebody stub their toe the other day and like I felt it myself. Like it's crazy. Like, I don't know. I think people are just different. People handle things different. People, are people. That's what humanity is. There's no real cookie cutter. And the sad thing is we can be great one day and then not the next. And the bad always sticks out more than the good. Um, but when we talk about cases like this one, it's also important to remember that there are still more good people in the world. We just don't know about them because they don't stick out as much, unfortunately. Yeah, Maribel, I kind of agree. She couldn't really read the room. And I I don't know. I still lean back on that grief that she was feeling. It's got to be like worse than normal because she's. I don't know. I have a hard time trying to imagine it, and I'm pretty good at imagining things, so that I can write about them. But when it comes to the love versus the disgust, I don't know how to put those in the same feeling. And I that's what I imagine must have been going through her mind. But then Chris did say at first that it was Shanann that did it, and she might have held on to that for a long time before she accepted the truth, even after he took the plea deal. It's just human nature is a funny thing. There's no, like, there's a lot of, like, probability about, this is how people typically respond to things. There's like, you can read all kinds of books on human nature, and you can see how, everything is accurate. But the thing is, it isn't accurate for one person, it's accurate for in general. So it's kind of like a little bit here for this person, a little bit there. And and when you look at it, as, I don't know, that's how I kind of read, that kind of philosophy. Human nature is hard to understand until you try to look at it in the big picture. And I think that's what a lot of philosophers do. The individual will somewhat fit the mold, but never really 100% fit it. In 2024, she had an interview. So if I didn't know this, and I don't think I've seen it, so that is going to be my next Watts video. I'm going to find that. I'm going to look at it and see. Maybe I did watch it and I just don't remember it. Maybe there was just nothing new in it or anything. But I don't think I've seen any recent photos of them either. I would play it on YouTube, but there's probably some background music that will get my whole video blocked. I don't know how to, react to other people's videos. Let me just see. I'll pull it up. I won't play it. Let me just see. It's probably called Cindy Watts 2024. Let's see. Yep. It pops up without even me typing. And no, but see, the one I see is from 6 years ago. Those are the real interviews. They're all from 6 years ago, 7 years ago almost. So I don't know if she did an actual interview. I see one of Ronnie Watts from 2020. Are you sure it was recent? I mean, I don't doubt you, but I just don't see it on here. Like I see the raw Chris Watts' mother. And then reviewing Cindy Watts is the next one. But there's no interviews that are recent. So I'm probably looking in the wrong spot. Wow, I think I've got a video here on my list I think it's German, maybe. I was like, how does that even happen? Oh, there's one of my videos. That's funny. But yeah, there's got to be. I mean, if there is another video, I'm going to find it and watch it. Really? If you can send me the link to it, I'll check it out. You can email it to me. My email is on my main About Me page. But I don't see it. Maybe has anyone else watched that? Olga, Lucy, Alicia, any of you guys watched that? But 2024, that's last year. That seems very recent, and I don't think I've even seen recent photos of them. And, I think they were in their 60s at the time. So, yeah, I think there was something in 2020, but I don't know. Hopefully somebody hasn't made an AI video of her, because that would be insane. AI is a great tool until stuff like that starts coming out, and you really can't trust it. when it, as you know, flash forward to like 10 years from now, you won't be able to tell the difference. Crime Catalyst. I'll look real quick. Maybe I'll just share the search. Where did my live go? And then you guys can, if you see it, well, I can't see the chat whenever I share the screen and I'm looking at the screen I'm sharing. So, I mean, I'll just share this. This is what I see whenever I type in Cindy Watts interview 2024. But see, this first one here is from 6 years ago. This is somebody else's video. This isn't, I don't think that's a actual interview though, right? Is that the one you're talking about? Crime Catalyst? Yeah, that's the one I see there too. I'll watch it and see. But I don't think that's an interview. It's like the old interview. Oh, yeah, I've heard about that guy, and he seems interesting. Yeah, it's weird. Things will get removed, but I'm kind of curious now. I'm half like tempted to play this, and then who cares if this gets banned? you know, I mean, it's probably just like, um, I don't know. I want to see what it says. So I guess once this is over, I'll watch it and see what I think. But I don't know, like those reaction channels, they seem to be able to, react to any video, and they keep their videos up. But I don't know if they're actually monetized videos or not. But I just like my last video that I did on Chris Watts. That video got like copyright blocked, like completely blocked, not like audio blocked, but blocked because of there was a TV show that used some of that body cam footage. It was the body cam video that um I talked about. I just watched the whole body cam footage of the police officer searching the outside of the house, then going into the house. Um, and I don't know. There was some show. It was I don't even remember the name, what it said, but it got blocked, and it was for the video, for using somebody else's video. And obviously it's automatically done, but still, once I actually looked at what was they were trying to block, it's like 10 seconds here, 10 seconds there. It looks like they cut out several pieces of that same body cam footage and used it in a real episode on Netflix or something. And it finally got unblocked today, but I had to go through a whole thing. It was weird. And the funny thing is, I'm pretty sure I've showed that body cam footage before, or at least some of it. Yeah, like I said, guys, I don't really talk bad about anyone, including people like that. I know there's been some other channels who've had a lot of drama, and I just don't really see the point. And it really kind of takes two people to, fight to. So I'm not that kind of person. One of the channels I watch, there's been some death threats and stuff like that. That stuff I would not tolerate, but I would go straight to the police. I just don't think that it's funny at all, especially with all of the true crime stuff that I've researched. Like people, once you start imagining it, then it's possible that you're going to do it. It's scary. So if somebody's fantasizing about it and enough that they tell you they're going to do it, you got to believe they're going to, and you have to report that. Yeah, Maribel, it's probably that interview, and, I don't know, maybe that is the one. I just don't wanna, uh let me see. Here, just give me a second. I'll watch it without sharing it and see, uh, if it looks like a real interview. I'm just super curious. Oh, hmm. Yeah, this is a commentary. Yeah, the audio is sped up, so, yeah, I think it's the video that got blocked that, somebody said it was on somebody else's, Rumble, and it might have gotten blocked. But it sounds like a conversation with her, but in, like, a high pitch speed, so it could be a real interview. I haven't watched it. I'll probably have to go watch it now. Yeah, the body cam footage is fair use, but if you I don't know, like, there's also the other things that get copyrighted, and I think the audio copyrights are the worst. Um, if I was playing, was it Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2? It's a game from, like, I don't know, 20 years ago, and they used, like, real music, that was popular at the time, and I'm playing that live, and my live got blocked because of it. And I'm like, "Well, that's kind of dumb considering everybody gets to, stream their games now, but apparently with games that use real music, you can't." It's weird. Or you can, you just can't monetize it. Um, which I mean, for a lot of videos that don't get many views, it's not that big of a deal. But I think it does hurt you in the long run with the algorithm, if your videos are getting, you know, copyright crap all the time. Yeah, fair use kind of works like that, Maribel. But I've had the opportunity of somebody using one of my videos, like, the entire thing, and YouTube flags it, and, this person said that they hired somebody from Fiverr, and they made them this video that it was their video and not mine, and I, like, said, "No, this is my video. Look, here, I posted it." It had everything except for my Timeless Mysteries stuff in it, and, it had my AI voice and everything. It was really kind of funny, and I kind of felt sorry for the person if they were being honest with me and they didn't know that it was mine. Obviously, they could have just, like, took it and tried it. They could have been, 10 years old. "Well, let me see what happens when I do this," you know? Yeah, Maribel, I really feel sorry for the guy. I told him, if he needs some support, he can talk to me and I'll, like, try to see if I can do anything to help. But he didn't respond. You know, I know he talks to a lot of you guys pretty regularly, but I've only talked to him a couple times. He's done a couple of my videos on his channel. And I think the first time that my channel actually got a huge spike in viewers and subscribers was because of one of the videos I did on Nicole Kessinger and the 111-minute phone call. And, since then it's happened a few more times where I got these huge boosts. And, but I've asked him if he wants to talk about other topics, and he said he did. And then I haven't heard from him since. I imagine he's pretty busy. But We all do things differently. I'm still trying to figure out myself on YouTube. Um, I would rather have more views than more subscribers, you know? Um, I know that, last year, I was like last year was a hard year for me. My mom passed away, and, like, it was really hard for me, and when my Chris Watts video got, you know, 25,000 views on the first day, I was, like, feeling like I finally made it. I finally did it, but I haven't been able to do it since. I think my videos are better, but I think it's the algorithm, it's also the competitiveness of true crime. Um, there's a lot of true crime channels out there, so, you're gonna get noticed sometimes and other times you're not. And also, I've experienced it myself, and I know I had talked about it before, but the vicarious trauma, the secondhand trauma you get from reading about this stuff, watching this stuff all the time is real. And for me, a few weeks ago, I was doing all these shorts. I was researching them, writing them, recording them, all of that stuff. I was doing it as quickly as I could, and I tried to get as many as I could get done. I think I got 20 done. Um, and they were done like my long form videos. And by the time I got done with that, I was just like, oh my God, like everywhere I look is like that guy, walking his dog. Could that have been, the Golden State Killer guy? He would stake out neighborhoods walking his dog. I mean, that's just stuff, and a lot of the unheard of crimes, especially, are especially bad. They are scarier than a lot of the mainstream stories that people talk about. And, if you read the book on the BTK killer, like that guy is even scarier than you can even imagine. Like, you know, Maribel, the one that I was, I mean, it's the one that you told me about, the one from Crime Catalyst. Uh, you know, I'm not gonna share it on here, but I think it's, the Dave guy talking to Cindy Watts, and she's playing it on her video or on her channel, and in a sped up, like, speed, um, probably so she can count it as fair use. I don't know. But it was posted last year. I'll have to listen to it and see. Um, I don't know. I'm not against um, Cindy Watts. I don't think she's a horrible, horrible person. I don't think she was, kind to her daughter-in-law for sure. But I imagine she had some good qualities. She's human. We're all human. Uh, Zawoki does a lot of Chris Watts, and he plays video games a lot. And, you guys, I'm gonna start posting, I might start playing games on my other channel until my son decides to take the channel over for me, but, so far he hasn't. He did one video and he got 10,000 views all by himself. So, he's got that star power, I think, that everyone who does well on these channels, they just have something that people like to look at. And my son has that, at least right now. He's not a teenager yet, so obviously that could all change when he gets older. I hope not, but you know, I think he would do good, and all he was doing was reading a book. I'm sure he could do anything, and it would do okay. But I've been telling, because since I got tired, like I got like struck by the trauma, the secondary trauma from doing too much true crime at once. It's hard to explain, but I can talk about a bigger story longer than a whole bunch of little stories. It just it just sort of stings me personally, I guess. And so what I started doing was writing ghost stories in my spare time for fun, and then I started reading them live on my other channel, and then I'm also playing Mario Kart and stuff like that, just to kind of take a break from the true crime, let my mind rest and not worry about, you know, the guy walking his dog who's just probably, getting some exercise, to keep his, heart rate good, things like that. I mean, yeah. Maribel, thank you. I just saw your comment that I seem much more relaxed and I'm not so nervous. It's funny. The more you do this, the easier it gets. It's hard at first. Like I bet you, in like a year from now, I'll be like actually standing up and doing stuff. Um, but right now, I would rather not. But I have fun talking on here. I like to hear the sound of my voice, I guess. um, Sometimes I think I'm getting better at having a conversation without, pre-writing the scripts too. I've also gotten better at looking at the camera because of the scripts I've written and started like reading straight at the camera. It's hard to look at the comments. They're over here. My camera's over here. So I mean, there's some things, but yeah, I'm gonna get better. I just enjoy it. It's not gonna like ever pay the bills probably, but I have fun doing it, and especially when you guys are here. I've tried it a couple times where I've had like no one, and I just do it anyway. Um, yeah, but I am writing, a ghost story right now. I'm trying to write it in order, and read every time I finish a chapter, I'm reading it. And the goal is 40 chapters. I want it to be a real book. And I'm stuck on chapter 3. Like, I can't even explain it. Like, I know where the story needs to go, and trying to force it to go there doesn't work. It's weird. But whenever I write other things, as long as I can, bounce around, I do okay. So I don't know, maybe I need to write, chapter 5 and 6 and then go back and write chapter 3 or something. I don't know, but it's supposed to be a ghost story about a ghost trying to get out of a mirror. And I put in a few things that, it's technically designed to be for, middle school kids, 12, 13, 14, younger, but not, so it's not too scary. But I've put in a few things like, oh, my mom was listening to a true crime podcast. And I think things like that are hilarious. I imagine the kids won't even think about it, but you know, if their parents are reading these books to them, they'll be like, "Oh my god!" But yeah. So this weekend, I don't know what live I'm going to be doing. It may be on Saturday. Um, I talked to TJ Ward to see if he wanted to come on here and talk about something again. He said, "Yeah, just let me know," but he didn't give me a topic idea. So I need to. Today's Tuesday, so I don't know. Tomorrow, I'll probably try to think of something to talk about uh, on tomorrow, and then see if he wants to, hop on here and talk about it. Because TJ Ward, he's a private detective. He's really a nice guy. He's got a lot of experience with this stuff, and I just find everything that he's just got a lot of knowledge, and you know, he was on my channel a couple times already. And he actually asked me to write him a book, but it's hard to find a publisher. He said that I would have to find a publisher, and apparently publishers now charge you. They don't pay you first. So I can't afford to publish a book, or try to publish a book, or anything. So um, but yeah, Maribel, I swear, if you start doing YouTube, you know, uh, and you just keep doing it and just try to improve a tiny bit every time, you'll get better. The weird thing for me was I have stage fright also, but when I was younger, I actually enjoyed doing like community theater. Like, I loved it. I was in high school plays. I would never, um, take the lead because I was too shy, but I still loved being in, the play, having lines, just not a lot. And I only sing, Lucy says she sings, but she gets nervous. And, I sing great in the car until I try to hit the record button and just try to show you guys, hey, look, I can sing good. And then, as soon as it records and I listen to it, I'm like, oh my God, I thought I sounded so good. But, I play guitar. I kind of can sing. I just don't know, if I could have ever been a professional at that. I do it for fun. I think when I was trying to learn guitar, I just got bored and started just making my own songs and never finishing them because it's fun. I have covered the Jeffrey Dahmer case. That is one story that will give me nightmares. I don't know if I can do that one again. Um, and what gave me nightmares, I think the most was I was trying to show what this man did to another man, with a drill without showing any gore. But what I inadvertently did was give myself the real image of what most likely was going on. And it's, I don't know. I should probably go edit it out because it's weird. I show like a picture of a drill and a picture of like, surgery or something. And I don't know, you just have to see it. It's like nothing real or, but when you kind of combine them all together, it really plants an image in your head. And I just cannot imagine how somebody could do that to somebody else and just like be nonchalant about it. The guy was slow talking. He didn't he didn't get riled. He would just drug them and then drill a hole in their head, keep them alive, and do things to them that nobody should be doing to somebody else. It's one of the most like it is just awful. I think, man, that guy is just gives me the creeps big time. But you should check it out. It is pretty good. I think it was the video I did on Dahmer and Bundy as I was trying to like compare the two, who's the scarier guy. In my video, I said it was Bundy, but it was about a week later that I started having nightmares about Jeffrey Dahmer. So yeah, I don't know. The guy is just uh, there's like I've I've researched a lot of killers, guys, and Jeffrey Dahmer is like most likely the scariest one. I think the toy box killer. I don't know that he actually was found guilty of murder, but he tortured people in ways that shouldn't be possible, and he like hypnotized them with drugs and stuff so that they didn't even remember what happened to them. That case also gives me nightmares. um and there's other stories too, like I think I did one short recently on the vampire of Barcelona. She's terrifying as well, but the reason for that is she was actually selling children to wealthy people. And then there's Albert Fish, who's probably a little more scary than that woman, except he wasn't selling them, he was doing it for fun. And he would torture the victims' families afterwards with letters about how he ate them and things. Um, but there's some horrible stories out there, guys. I thought, maybe talking about survivors would be better. And I did research on those. And, it is good that they survive, but, it's also bad too, because, they don't fully, you know, go back to who they were ever again, which is, you know, very, very sad. Uh, I don't know, like, true crime is a tough thing to talk about. There's a lot of, police that have to retire after they see stuff, there's been juries, entire juries that have to get counseling after seeing evidence, and it's the stuff that we show each other, on streaming services and things like networks like Netflix. All of the major streaming services have true crime now, and we enjoy the story as long as we don't get the real, like the real images. It's just not. I mean, I really recommend you don't look for those things, because once you see, even by accident, if you see something, it just kind of sticks with you. Uh, and that happened to me when I was making my Jodi Arias video. I accidentally saw some real footage of um, Travis. Was it that his name? Travis? No. Uh, I don't know. I saw images of Jody's boyfriend in the shower on the floor, and I didn't mean to. And for whatever reason, Google didn't blur out anything. It just like popped up there with everything. Yeah, but I don't know, guys. I'm kind of open to possibilities for new long form content. I haven't been making them as much, but um, I feel like I still need to make them. They've just been taking longer because I'm focusing on other things. Like, like tonight, I could be researching, I could be writing right now, but I've been hanging out, talking instead, which is fun. But if you guys enjoy watching people play video games, I can start posting links whenever I do that. But I'll most likely do that on my other channel, which there's not really much content on. I took everything down. It was a ghost story channel. Oh, you know what? Before I go, I think I found some of the old videos that I deleted. If I Let me see if I can find one. Um, and you guys can see how terrible my videos were before. Like, they're crazy. I know hmm, well, I don't know. I'll have to show. Maybe I'll post them and put them in the members only or something on my channel. But they're decent stories, but they're historical mysteries and historical ghost stories and things like that. Well, just historically haunted places. And I don't see it for some reason. I just found a bunch of them on my hard drive the other day, and I don't know where they are. But that's sad. I thought I just saved like 5 or 6 of them, and I don't see them. So maybe I didn't actually save them. And I think that's too far back. But I had a ghost story that I experienced myself from Delta Sigma Phi, and I found it. I thought I accidentally deleted it, and that was the fraternity that I was in, and our house was haunted, and we did have ghost hunters show up at our house way back in what, 2007, something like that, and they said that they didn't find anything, but like there was people always seeing something crazy there, and nobody would go down into the sub basement. We had a basement, that's where we had our dining room, and then there was a sub basement where we did laundry, and nobody would go down there after dark. And that video did terrible, by the way. But I don't know. I will find it again and try to share it with you guys if I can find it. I might have just lost it forever. I've got so many files that it's hard to keep track of anything, is the problem. I can't even find the Butch of Amityville one. I think that one's still posted on my channel. There's some of them, but those ones are already posted. Well, that's gonna wait. Nope, that's not it. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, guys. I kind of, overpromised, I guess. Let's see. I can probably share this. I got a video message of the letter, Chris Watts letters, that I can probably post on my channel at some point. And you guys can just read the whole thing because I don't think it's in print anywhere anymore. Let me see. I can probably share some of that right now. You've watched some of my older videos on this channel, right? But not my really old videos. Here, let me. Yeah, the ones that I do have still on, like Deliberately Deadly, are pretty old, but there's some before that, like the Ghost Ship. There, I did a series on this haunted ghost ship. Oh, and I thought I had the video. There was the one on my fraternity. There was some other ones on Dimension Beyond the Veil. There's a couple of ghost stories that I made last year, but all of the original stuff. My first ghost story that I told on Dimension Beyond the Veil was actually just me, like Googling stuff and talking about it. For an hour and a half because somebody told me I had to do it for like 2 hours and then, you probably get some views. I did, but it was kind of boring. But my very first videos didn't like the story was good, but there was the background images were basically background noise. If that even makes sense to you, they were unrelated to the video in any way. They were just images to kind of make it, and instead of just the audio, make it into a video. But some of them were actually pretty good. If only I could find them. I took them down off of Dimension Beyond the Veil whenever I was branding, trying to rebrand, and I was planning to do something different on Dimension Beyond the Veil, but I ended up just focusing on Timeless Mysteries instead. But yeah, I'll try to find those videos. I'll see if I can post them in the members section for you guys to watch for fun. I won't even monetize them or anything, so there shouldn't be any ads for you guys to get. You can just watch and skip around and laugh about how much I improved because that's all I can really say is I've improved a lot. But yeah. Let me just look through the chat again. I know I missed a whole bunch stuff here. Maribel, you lived in Barcelona. That's crazy. I've never even been. I've been to Canada and I've been to the Philippines. And I actually got cussed out in Canada at a McDonald's for going the wrong way by accident. I don't know how they designed their roads up there, but it's different than here. The Philippines is really good because it's all English speakers and, well, most of them speak English and, it just makes it easier. The country's, a lot different than ours. You have to get used to no water or no hot water, no dishwashers, no ovens inside your house and things like that. Well, Lucy, I think you will like Dimension Beyond the Veil. At least right now, I've got a couple of ghost stories that just kind of podcast, no like face or anything. I'm just kind of get on there and you might have to skip the first 5 or 6 minutes until I start reading. And I'm basically just reading stories that I've wrote. I'm working on one, trying to work on one. I'm hoping that I can actually make it a book without failing. But I'm stuck on chapter 3. we'll see. I think I've got a chapter 3 mostly written now, but you can, let me see. That one I can show you. Where's my thingy? There we go. Oh, it should pop up. I'll watch it from this channel and get a view from there it is. Yeah, it feels like cheating whenever you watch your own videos on your other channel. But I think the first chapter was the best. I'll just play a first couple of lines of it if I can find where it starts. So this is Dimension Beyond the Veil. As I said, it used to be a historical ghost story site. Like I had lots of them on there. I've taken them all down. And my son, I thought I was going to give it to him so he can make YouTube videos, but he hasn't yet. So I've been coming here to do things not true crime. And this story, The Haunting of Cedar Falls, is welcome to Dimension Beyond the Veil. You see, sounds like me, right? How's everyone today? Nobody was watching at all. A special treat. I've been working on a new story. Something. Let me see if I can figure out where I started. All right. So this is chapter 1 of it's 3 minutes. I still haven't started yet. Falls. Chapter 1. It was an ordinary day. Right? Mm. See, it's not that great. Sylvia Zaraya kicked a small pebble along the cracked, if you like, sidewalk as she walked home from Cedar Falls Middle School. I don't always. It was an ordinary autumn. I don't show my face on there. In the sleepy town, the kind where the sky still glowed a warm, lazy gold. Yet the air held an icy edge that sent dry orange leaves skittering across the pavement. Her cousin Soren walked beside her, balancing on an uneven slab of concrete. Every few steps, he hopped over a tuft of yellowing grass poking up through the cracks. It is designed. Behind them, Sylvia's twin sister, Sophia, trudged along, staring at her screen. The three of them had grown up believing that they were all siblings until the twins' 8th birthday, when they discovered a newspaper clipping in the library that revealed the truth. The article mentioned 2 baby girls who survived a deadly car crash. I've written a snowstorm. Other like short, a wreck that killed their mother and father instantly. The infants, Sylvia and Sophia, had been found. But yeah, this is a story about twins. They nearly died, but their parents died in a car crash. They were still in their car seats in a snowstorm. Somehow the car stayed on after the crash, and they survived because some random person accidentally saw taillights and stopped to see if everyone was okay. And I think that's why one of them is psychic, is because of this. That's kind of like my build up for the story. But there's other ones that are, like just actual ghost stories. Like these ones I actually made for Timeless Mysteries back when it was, historical mysteries, ghost stories, conspiracy theories, and true crime. Obviously, I niched down, but the lives, like this one is actually kind of a scary story about a girl going to a summer camp. And, it's like the stereotypical story, I guess, in a way, which kind of makes it a little bit lame, but it's still, I wrote it. So it's not lame, but the camp counselor says, oh, this ghost story happened. And then it actually happens to them. And actually, that one isn't that story. That one is different. That one is a slumber party gone wrong. Sorry, but there's other ones too. And obviously, you can see I've been gaming on here too. But this is Dimension Beyond the Veil. I don't expect much to happen on this channel. I have gotten some views watching or playing video games, so that's kind of weird to me. But yeah. Anyways, guys, I know. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, but I might do. I don't know. I would like to get some. If I had more time, if there was any way that I could do this like full time and actually afford to live, I think I could do like lives all the time and have like, ghost stories and, true crime. And I can actually have like, the good guests for ghost stories, like the psychics, the people who survived near death experiences and things like that. That would be fun to talk to people. And I think those might do well. I've actually talked to a couple of supposed psychics, trying to find guests for timeless mysteries, and it. I think it would do better on not a true crime channel, you know. But yeah, Maribel, you'll have to tell us all about your vacation and your life in Barcelona. I mean, it's got to be nice, right? In Barcelona. I've always wanted to go to Europe, and I just never been able to. Um, I've also wanted to go to Mexico, and I've been very close. I've been like a half a mile. I've seen the border crossing, where the people are going across the border. I've seen the line for that. I've just never gone. I've got a friend who lives closer down towards Mexico City from high school. So, I know people from there. I've also wanted to go to Brazil. I don't know. I think it's a beautiful country. I like the stuff I see on TV about it, about the country, like all the fun stuff that they do. But yeah. So I don't know, guys. I might start posting links on here. I've got a Facebook that I've sort of started a Facebook group that I've been sort of trying to like post stuff on. I haven't really yet, but if you guys find it and start posting stuff on there, maybe I'll, post the links there instead of on my channel. I just think the algorithm gets confused when you have a whole bunch of different genres. I'm not really sure how Zawoki is able to do it. I think he's got an equal number of subscribers for all of his stuff that he does. And for me, it's mostly true crime. And when I do other things, I kind of lose my audience. And so that's kind of why I have chosen only to do true crime. I might do, conspiracies as long as it's like true crime. And I could start doing bank heists. I enjoy writing about those, reading about those, talking about those things. But I don't think there's as much of a viewer base for those kinds of stories because I haven't had any of my bank heists do very well yet. So, but anyways, guys, I'm going to hop off of here, but I do appreciate you guys hanging out with me, and keep an eye out for this new Cindy Watts video. It's not new. It's going to be a short, and just let me know what you guys think. I know some of you were able to hear it. Some of you weren't. I basically took it apart and rearranged it and kind of I'm trying to make it into a short, obviously, but I want to tell basically the entire story in like 45 seconds or less if I can. But yeah. My confidence is getting better, but then my viewership goes down and I'm like, oh, I just got an email from vidIQ that says, hey, Rob, your Timeless Mysteries is doing great. You're posting like 3 videos a week, but burnout is real. Watch this video. And I'm like, oh, it's a ad. But it felt like it was talking directly to me, but it wasn't. It was just an ad it sends to everyone, which is kind of funny. But I have been feeling a little burned out lately. But I think it's just, until this like personal crap blows over and, we can get stuff settled. I just been kind of distracted. I think it's just, it'll be fine. Everything's going to be fine. And, I will continue to improve. But yeah. Yeah, you guys are very welcome. Thank you, Olga, for being here. How was your training? You had a job or a job today, right? You started a job. How was it? Did you? Hmm. Well, one thing I've been noticing that I need to learn how to do is how to do a close and actually exit. I always, I don't know, it's hard, like if this was a phone call, I'd be like, oh, okay, well, you hang up. No, you hang up. And then 45 minutes later, we're just randomly talking about the weather until, somebody starts snoring. That's just kind of my personality, unfortunately. But yeah. All right, guys, have a good night. I'll catch you guys in the next video. There's the end stream button. Okay, let me try this again. All right, guys, thanks for watching. As always, stay kind, be vigilant, and always question the truth. I'll catch you in the next video. Have a good night.